Hello and welcome to the Modern Homesteading Podcast. I'm your host, Harold Thornbrough, joined by my crunchy co-host, Rachel James.
Crunchy.
You're not offended by that term, are you? You own
No,
it.
I
I know
love
you
it. I'll
do.
embrace it. Whatever. Call me
Yep,
that. Whatever. Yeah.
crunchy
Yeah.
co-host. Yeah, I've heard you say it about yourself. You're self-proclaimed in that. I've heard it. So
I am. I was crunchy before crunchy was cool. Now they call it crunchy.
that's right.
It was weird then. Now I'm just crunchy.
Well,
Uh,
how's things going?
oh my word. We're getting freezing rain right now, and we've gotten so much snow, and we're supposed to get another foot overnight.
Wow.
A
A
foot
foot. Wow. Yeah, we're
on
not getting
top
that
of
much.
freezing rain. In fact, right now, right before I came on, I was on Facebook a little bit, and there's post after post after post of places locally closing for the night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have gotten I think one day we got 3 or 4 inches, and
Hmm.
that stayed but it's been so cold, it kinda lasted. Um, it's just been cold and windy. I mean, we've had some it's been getting around 12, 14 degrees every night.
Yeah, I think you're colder. We have not
Yeah,
been
it's been
that cold.
cold. It's been cold.
Um,
Of course, I work nights, and I'm out in it all night, and it has
yeah.
been brutal. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
that
like
would be
it.
awful. I
I
feel
definitely
the
feel it.
worst part about this is actually a pretty normal winter for us.
Mhm.
The worst part is we went from this crazy long fall that was really warm. We went from like 50 degrees the week before and sunny and warm and no snow to suddenly it's winter and we've gotten snow
Mhm.
every day since Thanksgiving. It's
Yeah, it's
just
cold
suddenly
balls.
winter. Just boom.
Yeah, and it's odd because the previous years, for a few years, it's been really mild and really
Yeah.
abnormal, so it feels worse,
Yeah.
but it's really not. It's probably more normal than what we have
Yeah, and it's
had.
a little bit of a shock to the body when
Yeah,
you go from 50 to 20 in snow. Usually we do it more gradual. We don't stay that warm, but it was a
right.
weird, very weird long. I was picking peppers in November, which is unheard of here because our last frost date is usually September 15th to September 30th.
Mm,
That's frost, not pepper weather. We literally had pepper weather all the way up until November, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
crazy.
We've gotten so cold here that I think it actually already killed my chard, which that never happens
Wow.
because 'cause I've had that winter over even, but
That's
it
pretty
looks
rough.
it looks like it's pretty much I haven't went out there and really looked at it, but it's laid down and it doesn't look healthy, so I think it's done.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I know, because I was looking forward to picking that for another month or so at least.
You might have to do some hey, have you ever done Swiss chard, like, microgreens or sprouts? I bet those would be
I don't
good.
think I ever have tried growing it as microgreens or sprouts.
You're
Yeah,
gonna have to you're gonna have to
that'd be
light
cool.
a little fire inside your what do you call it?
My
Your
greenhouse.
greenhouse.
I
Yeah.
I put the wood stove back in because I took it out for the summer and was using it in the backyard to make some, biochar with, and I just put it back in there a couple weeks ago and had me a little fire in there the other night kinda playing around. Yeah,
We have a
Jordy just popped
comment.
in. I think
We have a
Jordy
comment.
popped in, says, "I was picking tomatoes and peppers in November."
Pretty crazy. Oh, that is Jordy, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
I see his little icon.
yeah,
That's on his
yeah,
newsletter.
that's pretty wild.
I'm enjoying his newsletter a lot.
Yeah, it's fun, yeah, I like it too. If folks, see, I probably got one laying here somewhere. I was gonna say I could show it. It's right there, hold on.
Oh, the faux pas of doing that in the
There
middle
you
of it.
go, Jordy. I'll
Yeah,
just do a little advertisement for you. How you like that? Here's your Grow Your Life newsletter. You can find
yeah.
that. I actually have a link, for it that goes to his, Etsy store where you can get these on my website at Redemption Permaculture. So you can follow the link in YouTube. And I have put a link to his Etsy store in there in the store of my store. So you can go over there and check it out. It's pretty fun little monthly read there that he sends out.
I look forward to getting it every month. Yeah. I need to do the yearly subscription right now. I've just been buying it every month, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It's definitely it's fun. It's always fun to get something in the mail though. I mean, we live
it
in
is.
this digital world. And it's cool. There's so much information at our fingertips, but it is really fun to go to the mailbox and actually get something.
Yeah, I really prefer reading anything in actual print. I don't love the digital. I will use it like if I'm traveling or something, but I really prefer a print book.
Yeah, yeah,
So, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, how I gotta ask you, have you got electricity yet at the new place?
No.
Still no electricity. Ugh,
No.
wow.
It's I'm taking deep breaths and trying not to be really, really angry over it because it's not gonna
Yeah.
get me anywhere, but it's very frustrating.
Oh, That's horrible. I wish they just
Especially
did that turn
now
on
that
for
I
you.
know that we are, like, we have all the snow now, and I'm like, "The ground is gonna freeze soon. This is not gonna be ideal." But
Oh, we have a comment that says they listened to the books episode we did, and they added some of those to their Christmas list. Yeah, today we're gonna
oh,
talk about
nice.
some last minute Christmas gifts,
We
for
are.
homesteaders. And we just put a few things down that we like. We both use on our homesteads a lot. So if you don't have any of those things, they're good little gifts. I said under
Mhm.
$100. I think most of mine are under $50 that I picked.
I have a
They're
few under
really
50, a
inexpensive.
few close to 100. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's great. Yeah, books are great. That's why I tell my kids to get me every year. I always have a big book list in Amazon. I was like,
Yeah.
get me these books, and they do. They load me up with books every year. So half my books
This
get
is the time of
done.
year I do most of my reading. I
Yeah.
really enjoy, like, winter reading. It's just
Well,
time to snuggle with a blanket and some tea and a book.
hmm sounds like you're doing a little bit of canning or processing or something. I see that in the show notes. What are you
Yeah,
doing there?
so, this is the time of year where I look at my freezer and I say, "Okay, I can't do anything outside. What did I stuff in my freezer when I was too busy? What can I pull out now?" So for right
Yeah.
now, it's, I don't have I do have some tomatoes that I need to process, but for the most part, I have a lot of fat and bones that I need to process into something and do
Mhm.
something with. And then, but usually my garden was a lot smaller this year because I knew we would be moving. We thought we'd be moved by now.
Yeah.
But usually this is the time of year where I'll pull out lots of tomatoes and peppers and various even herbs and stuff and do stuff with them. Yep. What about you?
Yeah, I've got tomatoes. I got a lot of tomatoes still in my freezer that I can process, that I can do some work with. I mean, so if I want to make something, and I'll probably end up making some more salsa or something, I wouldn't doubt, or something with it. I don't
Salsa's
know.
always good.
Yeah, you can always make more of that. You can never have enough of it. So
Never.
so I have a lot of, because I just got lazy there towards the end, and I just started freezing stuff and throwing it in the freezer, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Oh, and we actually got a new freezer. Well, somebody gave us a freezer. They were buying a brand new one. They gave us their old used one that was nothing wrong with it. It's one of them really big ones, and I put it in the
Ooh,
barn. So I haven't turned it on yet. So I've got a lot of freezer space now if I need it. So like
that's dangerous.
a whole nother. Yeah, I know. I'm going. I don't. Yeah, I can definitely fill that up. So.
Of course, you gotta fill it up.
I
It
almost
can't
forgot
sit
about that
there,
till just now. I hadn't even thought, because that was a couple weeks ago we got that, and I hadn't even had time to really clean it up or anything yet.
right?
But yeah,
Once
so
you plug it in, you're actually better to fill it up because if it's full,
I
it
haven't.
uses less power.
Yeah, I haven't plugged it in yet. Exactly, you're exactly right. So it's just been super cold. I've been working lots of hours. It's just that busy time of the
You have
year.
been.
I've been working a lot. I had to do some soffit repairs today on my house for about
That
3
sounds
hours.
absolutely awful in this
When the
weather.
reason I had to do that is because a raccoon got up in there and tore them to pieces, bent them down, had a bunch of them like plopped clean out, and uh,
What?
so
What
now
were
I've
they
got a
after?
I don't know, they get up there to get warm, I guess. It's kinda nesting up there or something, and,
Oh my goodness.
so I've got a live trap set out there, and I've got to try to catch them, but I also had to get up there, and I had to piece it all back, and they had 3 big sections of the soffit completely removed, and a couple, like, really bent up. I guess it was raccoons, I'm assuming. I've had them up there
Right.
before.
Something big enough to make, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so I've been dealing with that, and, we've been
Always
diving
that
heavy
kind of
into the
stuff
pantry.
going.
I've been digging out a lot of stuff and cooking meals with stuff, and this is when you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor,
Yes. Yes,
and you just pull the stuff off of the shelves and cook it and make it and enjoy it, and that's
exactly.
nice. So you get to appreciate it now, and you think, okay, it was worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah, and for me, it's about that time of year that, well, not quite yet because Christmas, I start to focus on Christmas, but it's that time of year where I start to think maybe I'm going to get out some of my winter growing things.
Yeah, I've been messing around the greenhouse a little bit. I brought a few things in the house, and I started kind of setting the greenhouse up a little bit to do some stuff out there. I don't know if I'm gonna do much, but I can if I want to.
Right, right, yeah, but you
It's been
have
so
your,
cold. I don't know. I mean, 'cause generally it
yeah.
hasn't been this cold this soon, so I've been able to maybe grow some lettuce or something there. These temps, I couldn't even do that without any heat, really.
Yeah, there's
It's
some
so cold.
brutal, brutal cold. You guys, I think, are getting colder than us because we have Lake Michigan keeping us, we're
Mm,
close enough to Lake Michigan, it keeps us a little bit warmer,
yeah,
but that's why we're getting dumped on with snow.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So that lake effect
yeah.
hit you hard sometimes.
It
But
is right now. I'm
you crazy
enjoying
people
it.
up there love the snow. I was just getting ready to say, you love the snow up there.
I do. My husband doesn't, but he's the one that usually ends up
Uh,
getting stuck clearing the driveway, which is what he's doing right now.
I always feel pretty miserable from about December to about March myself because it's just I used to not hate it so bad, but I got to say I borderline hate it. I don't like to say I hate it because there's things about it that are okay, but oh man, I just so prefer summertime.
You just need some nice lights in your greenhouse and you can go and pretend.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything is more difficult when you got to work on stuff or do and everything breaks in the wintertime. And it's just, I don't know. It's just that it's life, you know.
Yeah. It gets
It's
long and
just life.
drawn out. Well, we
Well,
are only a couple of weeks from Christmas.
yeah.
Can you
So
believe it? I
that,
can't believe it.
that's why I think we need to do an episode like this. So I think we should dive into these kind of
Yes.
last minute gift ideas of they're not really last minute. I mean, you got plenty of time to get them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But things that I like having, and maybe you're a beginner homesteader, or maybe you're just a homesteader who hasn't picked up some of these things yet. These are things I think are worth having. I enjoy. I make use of all these things, and you know what? Homesteaders are a little bit different than a lot of people. In other words, the stuff that we want is not like what normal people would want, right? We want stuff that gives us joy in the gardens or on the homestead or makes our
Yeah.
job easier. Where a lot of people want this fun stuff, they want like games and whatever. I mean, I like practical things that I can use every year.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of what I've got in my list. I picked a few things, you picked a few things,
Yeah.
and I say we jump into it. What's your first thing you got on your list?
My first thing on my list, I gotta scroll down because my list is below your list, but a stainless steel steam canner. Of course, I would pick a canner for my first, but the steam canner is a new approved method that you can use for anything you could water bath can.
Hmm.
So, and it's a lot lighter because you don't have to have all that water and you don't waste as much water. So if you're in town and you have to pay a water bill, it definitely would help with that. But the stainless steel one is they have some that are cheaper, but this one is actually a lot thicker. The bottom of it is a lot thicker and it will last a lot longer than the ones that are the much thinner ones that they have out. So
That's
yeah,
nice.
a steel steam canner, but that's a mouthful.
So have you done some steam canning then? Have you been
I
doing that?
have. I
Okay.
have. Um And I actually really liked it, and in
Yeah.
fact, I gave my mom my steam canner and got this one, because it's a lot easier for my mom to handle because it's when you fill that huge water bath canner up full of water, it becomes really, really heavy, and it's this big hot mess, and if you don't have a lot of strength, you could possibly get burnt. So, I gave my mom, but it's actually really easy. I really, really like it, and I think it goes faster because you don't have to wait for all that water to come to boil.
Evidently, I didn't know it, but evidently my electric pressure canner that I have can be used as a steam canner also,
Oh, that's
and a
cool.
water bath canner. It does all 3, I guess.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
was
cool.
I was looking at I was reading some stuff about just because I have to remind myself every year how to use it,
Yeah,
because you don't use it for a few months. So I'm looking up the documentation on it, and I was like, "Oh, you can steam can with this as well." I didn't even realize it. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, so
yeah,
I just think they're a great, you could get this instead of a water bath canner. So,
yeah,
yep. They have, all the rules on the USDA on how to use a steam canner. It's basically water bath, the same rules, and, the newer ones have gauges and stuff. The older ones, you had to it's a long story.
yeah. We
The
won't get
older
into all
ones were
that.
much more difficult to use. The new ones are very simple to use. So, yep.
Good suggestion. Well, mine is something that isn't very expensive. My first thing here, and it's this here knife, this hoary knife. Because I'm gonna tell you, this is my number. This thing is dirty. Look at all the dirt on it. It's just, it's a very used hoary knife. I use this
Yep.
thing so much in my garden that I can't. It is my number one most used tool, and it's got like this serrated edge on one
Mhm.
side and a nice sharp blade on the other side, and it has a little bit of a curve to it, as you can see, for digging. So it kind of replaces several tools. I mean, you can actually chop things with it. You can dig
Yeah.
with it. You can slice with it, with that surrogated edge and stuff. I mean, I
Did
just
yours have a tape measure on it too? Mine has
it
like a
does, it
little. Yep.
does. It's
Yep.
because it's what is it, 8 inches, I think. Nope, 6 inches, 6 inches.
Yeah.
So you can even go down to a certain depth. So you can even use it for planting. You want to
Yeah.
take stuff down to
Yep.
a certain depth and wiggle it in the ground. So it's really nice. This one that I have in the link to, and by the way, all these links, there's a link in, if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link to the website, but on the website in the show notes, there is all the links to all the stuff we're talking about today, if you want to check it out. But this is the one I have, and I love this knife. It comes with a horrible sheath, though. The sheath
Yes.
is
Mine
useless.
was really super cheap
Yeah,
too.
it's
Yeah.
just it's a piece of junk. I don't even use it, but I don't really need to. I keep this thing in like a bucket with one of those,
Yeah.
which I could have put that down as a Christmas gift. One of them buckets, the thing that goes on the bucket that you can put all your
Oh yeah,
tools
like the
in.
bucket
And
organizer.
I just kind of keep it in there, and I take that to the garden with me every time. But love the Hori Hori knife. I highly suggest having one of those
I
if
love
you love
mine.
to
I
garden.
used
So,
mine to plant garlic
oh
this
yeah,
fall.
they're
Yep.
fantastic. I love them. Which brand is is that the Hori Hori knife? Let me see. I got the link here. Let me kick it up here so I can. I'm not sure. It's one of the cheaper ones for sure. It
Yeah,
is
you can get more expensive ones for
I
sure.
think I think Jordy just wanted to see if I could pronounce these Japanese words, and
Probably.
a Nisaku, Nisaku, says the original Hori Hori, whatever Japanese stainless steel weeding knife. So, yeah, I like it, and it's right now it's on sale, and so it's only like $20. So
Mhm.
it's a nice knife. So, what do you have for your second item there?
I have the Felco pruners and the leather sheath, which I love these, but like you and I were talking beforehand, what I really like about them is they stay sharp for a really long time.
Hmm.
And they're not cheap, but what we were saying earlier is I do find that the way the spring is set up, you have to keep it really clean or it definitely will freeze up and stuff, but I love mine.
Yeah. One of the reasons that I was talking about that bucket thing I have and I keep all my tools in because I have a bad habit of just leaving tools out in the garden. Like you'll be out there working, you'll walk away, you'll forget. And I've left my pruners and stuff out there
Yeah,
before.
I've done that too.
And if you leave them out there very long, that spring gets not working right. They get rusty. I mean, you got to take care of them. So yeah, I mean, they're good tools, but you got to take care of them for sure.
Yeah, and one of the things I have a hard time with, and I like these, is I have really small hands.
Hmm.
So, a lot of tools are not built for my hands, but I don't have any problem with these. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
They're made. Yeah. They ergonomically, I think they're really well designed.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
hands don't get tired using them, and I do a lot of pruning, especially in the
Oh,
spring and in the fall. It's like all you
yeah.
do all day long is this. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I just really like them. I like having, I should try the bucket method. I do carry a bag around and I actually have an apron.
Hmm.
I should have put that on here, but I didn't.
Oh yeah,
But,
we could have put a bunch of stuff, but we didn't put on here.
yeah, but I do use the sheath for those because I use them so much. I just put them on my belt.
Well, my next thing is a stainless steel 1 gallon countertop compost bin. I love this thing because it just makes you can just throw things in a bucket or whatever. What I like about these, let me share the screen on show
I
people
think I might want one of these.
the
This
picture.
might go on my
Yeah,
list.
they're nice. I like them. What I like about them is you got this little bucket, little nice little stainless steel bucket you can throw up on your countertop, and that lid actually has a charcoal filter in it.
Ooh,
So it
nice.
keeps back any smell. So you can leave it sitting there a couple days. You don't have to worry about it stinking or anything. So you can just wait till it's full. You can keep it up there, fill it up, make one trip to the compost bin, dump your scraps, and go back to business. But or that's just for composting stuff. So if you wanted to, use it for that, I think it's worth having. I've had it for 4 years, probably 5 years. I love it. And
I
you can
think I
actually
might
buy
have
those
to get
little
one of those.
filters to replace. You can buy those little charcoal filters. They start getting where they're not working or whatever. Yeah, they're nice and they look nice too. It's like you set them on the counter and just throw your food scraps in them.
Yeah,
And
because right now I'm just using a plastic bucket and it definitely smells.
they can definitely and it's just it's a kitchen. If you want things to look a little nicer and not have the stink, and a nice little stainless steel bucket up in the corner just looks okay too. The one I actually has some print on it too, some little fancy print. That's one here doesn't, but it's a little bit cheaper. So I thought I'd put the link to that one in there. So yeah, what do you have next?
The next thing I have, which you might want to bring up on the screen so you can people can understand what I'm talking about. But Bootstrap Farmer has some really good products as far as seedling trays and stuff.
Mhm.
Everything I've bought, even when I went to like the grow store, just dies pretty quickly within a year or two. Bootstrap has some really good seedling stuff. And I found this, and I don't have this, but I did buy a couple of his trays. But I found this set, and it's a whole little seedling starter set. And these are
Yeah.
really, really durable. This is like super durable plastic.
Mhm.
It's going to last several seasons. It's not cheap. Um, but if you're a small enough gardener, you could get, most of your garden started with that.
I have some of these. Mine are black, but not green like his.
Yeah.
They're thick. Yeah, they're nice. I like
They're
them.
super thick, and
Yeah.
they don't die. Like, you get these from the store, and if you're lucky, you can get a year out of them.
Yeah, they're one season where these are
Yeah.
multiple seasons. I've used
These are
these. I think I started
multiple.
getting these about 3 years ago, and I'm still I think I can get I got another year or 2 at least in them, I would say. If not longer. I
Yeah,
don't
and
know.
I think this would just be such a great gift for somebody
Mhm.
that's really interested in starting gardening.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and they just have quality stuff, Bootstrap does, so.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. I think they do, and I know you got more coming up too as well, but, with them. If you wanna go ahead and share the next one too, I mean,
Yeah,
you
I was
also
just gonna
have
say I
the
could do both of those at the
yeah, go ahead
same
and do
time.
both
So
those together.
he has his Bootstrap, air prune trays, which, those
Yeah,
are amazing too, and those things
these are what
last
I actually have right
forever.
here. Yeah,
Yeah, and
these are
they're
the ones.
really, really sturdy. You can start a ton of seedlings in them. They last for a long time like the other ones. They're just
Mhm.
very, very sturdy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these
so
are
you could
exactly
just
what I have here.
yeah, the only thing that's, a little bit more difficult with those is, they're just kinda a little bit hard to clean up, but whatever.
Yeah, right.
But
Well,
they
my
last. They're not gonna break on you.
yeah. Now this next thing I got a couple years ago. It's a Grow Sun 6-layer hanging mesh herb drying rack.
Those are nice.
Yeah, I actually have mine, but it might be
Look
kinda
at you.
hard to
You
see on the
even see,
camera.
I needed to bring
Yeah,
mine in.
I had it hanging out behind the deck. Let's see. It's hard to bring it in here, but each one of these compartments open. It's hard to see, I know, in this
You're
little
just
screen.
Vanna White here.
But well, I know. Hey, you might as well take advantage of YouTube, right? We don't use
It is
YouTube.
nice to see it, yeah.
Yeah, so every once in a while, somebody wants to go see that stuff. But that's what it is. You hang it up. It's got 6 compartments in it, and zip it. You can dry your herbs in it. Now, I'll tell you something I've been using this thing for. This is a little different than its intended purpose, is seed collection. When I'm chopping the heads off all this stuff, and you have sometimes they just need to dry a little bit
Oh,
longer,
yeah.
I put them in there, the seeds stay in there. You
That's
can
a
just reach in
great
there. You can
idea.
literally just reach in there and shake them and catch the seeds in each one of those trays and just scoop up your seeds out of there. And
So
that has been
could you
working
do
great.
something as small as, like, radish in there, or is that too small?
I've done onion seeds. I've
Okay.
done yeah, I was doing the uh oh, what was it? The mustard
Kale?
seeds. I had
Oh,
mustard seeds
mustard
in there,
seeds,
and those
okay.
are really, really small
Nice.
seeds. So yeah. Yeah, it won't go through. I mean, they might stick in there a little bit, but they don't really fall through. But yeah, it
Yeah, I
works
have
really
one of
well.
these hanging mesh or just it looks almost exactly like that, and I love it. They're so nice.
I've been using it a couple years and, it's been hanging under my, we have like a little gazebo awning out and
Mhm.
over our deck. It's been hanging in there and it's not really rotted or anything like that. I've been leaving it up for months and 2 seasons now, and it hasn't
Nice.
really shown any wear or anything. Zippers still work good on it. So, yeah, it's worth checking
Perfect.
out. What you
That's
got next?
nice. What do I have next? I'm scrolling up and down here.
Yeah, me too.
This is real live here. I have
Oh, yeah.
stainless steel microgreen kit. So I'm not gonna say I have this because I don't. This is actually
I
on
don't
my
either,
wish
and
list.
you've got me wanting this because I
Yeah.
seen when you
I
showed this
have
to me
what you
earlier.
have, which is the green trays, which we both have. I love those, but I've been waiting for something a little bit not plastic, a little bit more
Yes, right
sustainable
here they
and
are. Oh,
yeah, because I just
good.
don't love having plastic in contact with my food. And so I ran across these stainless steel kits and I think they're amazing.
Yes, they are. I see when you brought these in, I hadn't even seen these before,
Me
and,
either. This was yeah.
yeah, these are just like the green ones I have, only they're
Mhm.
stainless steel, which are mine are plastic, and like I was telling you earlier before the podcast that I actually will do the summertime if I want some microgreens, sometimes I'll just do it in my greenhouse. Well, when you leave those plastic ones out in the
Yeah.
sun, destroys them. They get so brittle, they break so
Yeah.
easy. So I've actually had to replace a few, and I'm probably due for some again. Well, these are definitely a little more costly, but
Yes.
that's a lifetime investment. I mean, these
They
things are
come
gonna
in a
last
little
you
bit
for
smaller size. So these ones are the bigger ones. They're like
mhm,
10 by I can't remember. They're a little bit bigger. And then there's some that are a little bit
yeah.
smaller and which
I
would
mean
be a little bit more affordable.
yeah, and you're getting
So,
4 of them for $75, but I think those plastic ones are like, oh, I don't know, what are they, like, 20 something dollars for 4 of them?
yeah,
So, I mean,
something like that.
you're gonna invest, they're gonna last you way longer than 3 times
Well,
longer,
yeah,
you
stainless
know?
steel. Yeah, they're
So,
gonna last you for a long
I
time.
think it's a worthy investment, I actually
Yeah,
do.
and like I said, you're not getting the, plastic in contact with your food, which
Mhm,
I do
right.
try to avoid. It's not easy
Some people are
sometimes.
definitely more, sensitive to that, what they
Yeah.
want to accomplish there, yeah. Um, well,
So what do you have next?
my next thing is a Gilmore professional commercial hose, the pro commercial hoses. I I tell you what, I have went through so many hoses in my lifetime because these cheap ones don't last, they kink.
No, they
It
don't.
we I It's hard to find good ones. Well, these commercial hoses are those big red ones that are real thick, and they're heavy, so dragging them around is not real convenient, but I've been using this one 50-foot hose for like 3 years, shows 0 wear,
Mm,
the thing never kinks. It just looks like I just bought it. I mean, the thing is just, like, great, and a lot of times you'll see, like, restaurants use these for cleaning up in their kitchens or,
okay.
professional landscapers will use these things because they last forever. They're just, they're great. If you want a
I
good
might have to
hose,
get one of those. I
they
can't even
definitely
tell
cost
you.
more.
Yeah,
Excuse me, what was that?
sorry. I interrupted you.
Yeah, go ahead, what'd
I
you
said
say?
I might need to get one of those. I can't even tell you how many hours I spent this summer unkinking hoses and walking back to find the kink that was in the hose because I was yanking on it. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're not oh, that's a 100-foot hose. That's a 3/4 inch, 100-foot hose for 70
Wow.
bucks, which
That's
I spent
good.
half that amount on hoses that were 1/10 as good, you know what I mean? So, yeah, they hold up really well. They do really good, so it's a lot. You can get a 50-foot or 25-foot. I think I have the 50-foot actually, and this the one in the link here's a 100-foot.
I think I
But
might
yeah,
need that.
they're definitely worth having. Again, homesteaders are weird. You get a normal person a hose for Christmas, they might be
Right.
offended, but homesteaders will enjoy it. We'll love it.
Oh, I'd be dragging it through the house. Look, look, it doesn't
Look at
kink.
this. Yeah, me too, me too. I get excited about it.
I'm not
Exactly.
kidding. I spent so much time. Like, I get to the garden and I go to turn the water on and I'm like, "Oh, it's kinked."
Kinked
So
up
then I rock
somewhere. Yep.
back. Yeah.
I'm the same way. I hate it. It's so aggravating. Yeah. So what you got next for us?
What do I have next is I have mini pop-up greenhouse. I love these.
Yeah.
Now, I don't actually use mine outside. You could, and I have moved them to the porch once it was warm enough. But I actually use my little mini greenhouses inside, and then I put um
Your grow
my
t
little
like a grow tent.
my dollar
Yeah.
Mylar bag blankets, and then I put my grow lights in it, and I love it. Now you can get
Yeah.
smaller ones than this, but
Mhm.
it's just super nice. And here in the winter, you wouldn't think it, but here in the winter, Michigan actually gets pretty dry, so it helps hold some of the humidity in there and
Mhm.
stuff too. So
Yeah.
I love the little pop-up mini greenhouses, and you could probably put it outside, but it's not gonna keep temperature like a bigger one would. But yeah.
Before I ever had a greenhouse or even was really growing, doing the seed starting indoors, well, I was always using the kitchen table, which that
Yep.
can start fights. But anyway, I had on our back deck, I had one of the small ones that basically just a shelf would fit in. And it's like
Right.
one shelf, and you basically it's a tent that goes around that. And I used that for all my seed starting for a couple years. And they don't last forever. They're definitely made cheap.
Oh,
That
yeah.
greenhouse
Yeah.
plastic doesn't last forever. I used it for a couple years and it worked. And yeah, they're handy and they're a lot of times you can find them really inexpensive depending on the size
I
you
think
want.
mine's on, like, year 5, but I don't let it
Mhm.
sit and bake outside in the
Mine
sun.
was out in the sun, which,
Yeah.
was why. I mean, it was early, like, we're talking, like, early April,
Yeah.
I was trying to get a jump on the seed starting, and I had it out there, and it worked. It did a good job,
Yeah.
but especially if you've got the heat mats under the trays
Yes.
inside of that, I mean, it can be below freezing, and it'll still keep it warm
Yeah,
enough
if
to
you
seed
did
start.
that, you could definitely I just
Mhm,
I don't know why, but I love them, and I can zip them shut, and I can like we've talked about before on the podcast where I do the Mylar blankets and
mhm.
tape them to the outside, and it holds all that light in there, and they get just so much light when I
Yeah.
put my grow lights in there, so I love them. You can get smaller ones too than that one.
Mhm.
So that's another idea if you wanted to go less than that price or smaller.
Absolutely. Well, something I really like is my little apple core slicer peeler that
Yeah.
I got here. I love this thing, man. It's so much fun to use. I love just getting me a big old bag of apples and just tearing into it and slices them and everything. And what I like about it, it slices them really the perfect thickness to dehydrate.
Yes.
And then so they dehydrate nice. So it automatically it peels and cores and slices it just perfect for the dehydrator. So I love these. I just love it. And they're really inexpensive. And they're
Mhm.
just, I mean, there's really, I mean, this one here, I think it came with an extra little cutting blade, because that might dull eventually. Had a couple little extra parts, but yeah, I don't know. It just,
And
it's
it does it, like,
simple.
all at once.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does it all at once. It crank out, you put the apple in it, you push it, and it peels it, cores it, and slices it all at once. And yeah, it just does a great job. And I really like it. And I love playing with it. It's
Those
kind of
things
fun.
are amazing.
Cleans
I have
easy. I
one
mean,
too.
it's all yeah, it's all metal, so it cleans up real easy. You could set it in the dishwasher and whatever if you wanted to. I mean, it does have that suction cup on the bottom, so I've never really
Yes.
stuck it in the dishwasher. So I don't know if that would hurt that or not in the dishwasher. Maybe. I've
I
always
don't
hand
know.
washed it. I've always just put it in the sink
Yeah,
and
we
washed
always
it.
hand wash ours too.
But yeah, it's very handy during the harvest season when you're picking your apples. And I haven't tried to do like pears or anything with it. I don't know if it would. I don't know. I
Mine
haven't
tends
tried
to
it.
do apples that are on the harder side
Yeah,
better.
you can't if they're
Rough.
overly ripe, you could not do that. They'll
Yeah.
just mush them. Yeah, it won't do them right.
Yeah,
So
like
still,
Macintosh, maybe. Yeah.
for the price, it's definitely a tool worth
Yeah, I
having,
love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
So what's you got next?
My next one is the Ashman drain spade. Now, it doesn't have to be this brand, but that the drain spade, and if you can bring that up, you'll see what we mean. But this thing is amazing for digging holes, which we have done lots and lots of digging holes lately. My husband and I actually kind of fight over it. I'm always like, "Where did you put that?" And I just love we love this shovel. It's the shovel that we fight over all the time. "Where's that
Mhm.
shovel? Hey, can I have that shovel when you're done with it?" type of.
Yeah.
We just love it.
I have one of those. I don't
So
have this brand, of course, but I have a shovel like that, and it's great for planting trees,
mhm.
digging, like any kind of like if you need to put a swell in, they're really good for digging
Oh, yeah.
swells. They're really good for just any kind of ditch or anything you're trying
And
to
if you
dig. I
got
think.
roots,
Hmm.
it's
Or
just like that perfect.
I ran, I had to run some, well, I actually ran internet lines, some Ethernet lines out to my pole barn. 'Cause when I had the office
Mm,
out there and I was doing my podcast out there,
yep.
that thing made a nice trench to lay the cable down, out to the
Yes.
barn. So it does really good for digging trenches and things like that too.
We
So,
had to dig 50 feet of
mhm,
trench from the propane our new house for the propane
mhm.
tank to the house, and, we had to use a pickaxe for some of it because we were going through the woods, but
Yeah.
that thing was amazing. It's perfect for stuff like that, but it's a great little digger. I love it.
Hard to beat a good shovel on the homestead, isn't it?
Yep. Yep.
They're really a useful tool. The next thing I got is this, I could do there's several brands of fermentation kits, but
Mhm.
I got this Elementi fermentation kit. And I just love these because you got the airlock. You put the water in, got a lid that goes right on a mason jar. It actually comes with the weights that you put down inside the and hold your stuff down, these little glass weights. I love those. Those things are really nice. And it's got the little
I
knob in
need
the
to get
middle of it,
some. I
so it's
love
easy to get
those.
in and out. And just great. You can turn your mason jars. I mean, this is how I make all my sauerkraut. I done
Mhm.
some beans. I fermented some made like dilly beans or whatever. Fermented those. It's just great for fermenting stuff. And if you don't have them, and they're real inexpensive, and just make use of what you got, and they last. I mean, I've probably used them. There's really no wear and tear on them as long as you don't do anything
Right.
crazy with them.
The million
Um,
uses of a ball jar.
yeah, yeah. Again, just use the jars you got, ferment your sauerkraut stuff right in your mason jars, and it's just really easy, super easy, actually.
I had
So,
fermented beets this morning. They were pretty good.
yeah, yeah, fermented beets are awesome.
Yeah.
Love
That's one of my favorite ways to eat beets, but yeah, those are amazing. I love fermenting.
Yeah, and if like I say, if you're new to it, that's a really inexpensive and safe way to do it. Because you don't need that. You can do that just by cracking lids and doing
Yep.
things and letting the air out. But this is you kind of set it and forget it. It's harder to mess that up because if you forget to go and
Yeah.
let the air out, and you can just mess things up. This you just kind of put it in there, put some water in the vapor lock, kind of forget about it for a few days, until it's done. And I like that. And you're keeping, like I said, this little weight keeps everything down under the water. So you ain't got to
Yep.
worry about anything getting dry and sticking up and having problems with that. It's just it just makes it, especially if you're new to it, that makes it really easy.
Yes.
Like I've got my fermentation crocks, my big crock and
Yeah.
stuff. I love that too. If you're making big batches, like you want to throw a couple
Those
heads
things
of
are
cabbage
amazing.
in there and make something, it's great. But I honestly, I use the ball jars to make it
Well, and
way
what's nice
more often.
about those is, oftentimes if you have many ferments going on, you do have to worry about the air carrying different bacterias, but with those you
Mhm.
don't because you
Yep.
have those airlocks on them,
Yep.
so you can
Exactly.
do multiple things and have your sourdough and not have everything get all messed up.
Yep.
Super
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah, they work really, really good. What you got next for us?
I have leather gloves, which I use all the time. I don't always wear gloves, but especially when I'm, like, shoveling a lot. Some of our tools are getting a little bit older, and I have
Mm.
gotten my fair share of splinters to the point where now I'm wearing leather gloves because I don't like digging splinters out of the palms of my hands. And these ones I have had, like I said before, I have a hard time because I have small, almost kid-sized hands, and these ones actually fit me, and, they actually give you, like, a sizing chart and stuff on Amazon. They work really well, they're durable. I have 2 pairs, and they're, like, 3 years old, and I
I'm bad
use them
about
all the time.
I'm bad about not wearing gloves when I should wear gloves. I'll tell you what's worse than splinters. Do you have any fiberglass handled stuff that's been out in the sun a long time?
Yes, a couple
Oh
of my
my
shovels.
goodness.
Yep.
When those things get like sun beat and they start
Yep.
breaking down and they get those little fiberglass splinters, you do not want to get those in your hands. Let me tell you, those
So,
hurt.
tent poles, and
Yes,
then,
exactly.
you
Yeah.
know, wow, what I got it on this year is I didn't put my gloves on, and we have, because we get so much snow here, we have the snow stakes so you can see
Mhm.
the driveway. I grabbed a hold of one of those things. Oh boy. Yeah.
I had an old CB antenna on a semi. Of course, them things are out there whipping all the time, right? I went to take it off of a semi one time, put it on another truck, and that thing had been sunbeat so bad and it had done that and splintered. I swear my hands hurt for a week when I grabbed that
Oh,
thing because it just put a
it's
bunch of those little
awful.
fiberglass splinters in my hands. So,
And they've
yeah.
started making, like, some of the shovels and stuff have
Mhm.
the handles like that. So, I have started wearing gloves from
Yeah.
bad experiences.
Yeah. We went down a little rabbit trail there, but yeah, I agree. They don't want splinters like that.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. What did I have next on here? I had my fruit picker. I love my fruit picker. I don't have it in here. I didn't bring a picture of it,
Oh,
but
yes, that's the one
I've
with the
got
long handle.
you go to my
I love
website, you can see all kinds. I've got videos, even me using it. That thing's great. Yeah, it's long handle. It's got different sections. You can just put as many handles on it as you need to get up to the top of those trees. I love it. That thing is so handy. It is a little slow. I mean, if you had something
Right.
come in and shake the tree, one of them violent shakers and get them all down at once, that'd be great. But you pick them 1 or 2 or 3 at a time. It's not too bad. But I like it. It's really light. So your arms don't really get tired holding it up or anything. You think you're holding up this big, 20-foot pole or whatever, and you're picking stuff. It's not bad. It really doesn't bother you. It's all real super light aluminum and, yeah, it works
It's
really, really
nice
well.
because sometimes if you shake trees and you have all of that fall down, they're gonna get bruised.
Yeah, yeah. There's people that
Yeah.
have you ever seen those the machines that come out and have the tarp that
Yes.
wraps around and it shakes the trees and drops it all in
Yeah.
there? Yeah, you don't have that in a normal little homestead, but you need a
Nope.
fruit picker because it seems like all the best fruit is way up there. You can't get to it
Always.
always. So that's what I have on my list. So I have a link to that in there. What you got next?
It's called a hand cultivator if you Google them, but it's actually like a little tiny rake with, like, 3 or 4 prongs on it.
Mhm.
I love that because you can get between plants
I'll
super
kick it up
easy
here so I can
without
take a look
bending
at it.
over to grab a
Yeah.
couple of weeds. We just love ours.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep, I
Yeah, just
love it.
it's very simple, but yeah, I imagine that thing would do really, really well. I mean, I think it'd probably be even good for doing like really light weeding, like if you had some bigger weeds, like some dandelions or something like that. I bet it'd rake those right up.
It does. That's what I use it for usually, and it gets
Mhm.
between plants because it's not as big, and I don't have to bend over.
Yeah.
I don't have raised beds like you do, so well, actually,
But
you
even
don't
that
anymore.
Even that though, I mean, that thing would be really just good for keeping your soil aerated and
Yeah, I mean, as you get older, you appreciate not bending over as much sometimes.
oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Why when I do build raised beds, they just keep getting taller every year.
Right, yes.
Oh, what I
This
have
next
next
thing
on
I
here.
was one of the first things I was thinking about, so I'm glad you put it on here.
Oh, the Brina, yeah, Brina LED grow lights.
Yes, I
I love
love
mine. Now
mine.
you have the white ones. I have
Mhm.
the what color? I guess they're
Pink?
pink. Yeah, whatever
Yeah.
color. I guess they glow pink. I guess.
Fuchsia or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. And but they're the full spectrum for like
Yes,
for growing things.
you could
The
actually
thing is,
grow all your yeah.
yeah, I could grow stuff if you're growing like fruiting things or whatever, it'll grow them all the way to like
Yeah.
you're going to do cherry tomatoes or something. You need like those lights, but they're really inexpensive. I used to do everything under fluorescent lighting and things like that because grow lights, LED grow lights were super expensive. They have
Yeah,
gotten so affordable. You don't even
they
need the
are.
Barinas. There's other companies out there that are making all kinds of inexpensive ones. So give some grow lights. I think they're really worth having. Homesteaders will love them. The Barinas are the ones I have. What I like about them, I have the 2 foot ones. I think you can even get them in 4 foot. I think they have some really long ones.
Mine are 4, I would like to get some too.
Yeah, I have the 2, and I love it because they hook together. So you have
Mhm.
one
Yep,
plug that you're plugging into an outlet, and then all the lights just hook in series, and then
yep,
they all run off each
and they're
other, and I
super
love that.
light.
Yeah, super
They're
light,
so
and
light.
they just work great. I've been using them for, I think, 3 or 4 years now. Love them, and
Mhm.
they're still going strong. I've not had any problem. Not one of them have burned out. I haven't had one single problem. I use them for 3 or 4 months every year. So, yeah, they work great,
Yep,
and so
mine are
they're
on a
definitely
lot
worth picking up.
too. I love them.
Yep. Okay, what you got on here next?
I have a backpack sprayer.
Okay, I wanna know why do you have that? Why do you use it for?
I do
You have to
not
spray
use
in
it for chemical.
pesticides?
No, I'm not,
No, no,
but
no.
it works great if you wanna spray, like, fish emulsion or, any of you got really big into your compost teas,
Yeah.
because you spend so I had one of those little I don't know, it's like maybe no, it's probably a half a gallon with the little hand pump, and all I was just it's gone in, like, 30 seconds, and then you have to go back and refill it and refill it and refill it, so,
I wonder about
yeah.
using those for, like, compost tea and stuff, if they would do the nozzles clog up on them pretty easy, though? Because
Well, we'll see.
I generally
Yeah.
just pump mine through a hose, like with a sump pump, and run it through a
Okay.
hose, and the reason I do that is because I feel like it would because I'm putting, like, the powders in there and stuff for, like, the mycorrhizal and stuff like that, I'm doing
Oh,
different
that's
things. I'm
right,
adding
you're adding all that to
and
it
I
too.
don't know if that stuff would clog up really fine nozzles like that. So, I mean, they're really good for doing foliage sprays and stuff, though.
Yeah,
Um,
they are.
yeah.
That's what I've been using it for. I'm not sure how well it would work for, like, what you're talking about.
Mhm.
So, we'll see. I was going the other thing I got frustrated with was, I was doing the hand one, so then I bought I believe it was a 2-gallon one. And so I was dragging that around, and I got tired of
Mhm.
dragging it around, and then they lasted a year. That was it. They just
Well, and yeah,
broke.
and I do the same. And the reason, I don't know how much better they're built than the hand sprayer ones, the kind
I
you're
don't
spraying around
know.
pumping. Because what I use those for is actually weed killer, but good weed killer. Hear me out. I'm not out here
So, like,
spraying like
vinegar?
poisons. I do the vinegar and the Dawn
Yeah.
dish soap and the and water. She'll mix
Yep.
some things together. And there's actually another thing I think I put in. I can't remember. Oh, Epsom salt. I'll do Epsom salt in there
Yes.
and spray that in like my walkways and stuff. So it's not got any harmful chemicals or anything like
Right.
that. And I'll use those, but that vinegar tears those they're going good for
It
one season.
does. You
That
have to,
eats those
like,
up.
run water through it or
Yeah,
something.
I'm
It
not real
tears
good
'em up.
about always the follow-up of cleaning them out and running some water through them. Sometimes I think, "Oh, there's a little
Yeah,
bit
so
left. I can wait and use that next time."
we'll see, we got this one. My
Yeah.
husband also is one of those guys that really likes a green lawn. Now, I could care less, but we have the Jerry Baker books. Do you remember Jerry Baker? He was, like, an organic guy, but,
Mm,
anyways, he has, like, this recipe that's got beer and I can't remember. I think it might have Epsom salts or whatever in it that makes our lawn look amazing.
mm.
And so he uses that on the lawn.
You gotta get in some of those aerator shoes. You ever seen those little strap on your shoes when you're
Yes,
walking
yes,
on your
I've seen
lawn? It
those.
aerates the
Yeah,
lawn.
my husband loves his green grass, and so we use it for multiple things, so we just got it. We'll see how long it lasts. I'll keep everybody posted because I have not had any of them last longer than, like, a year or 18 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder about that if they make them better because those little cheapies you get, this don't hold up.
Yeah, that's what we thought. Well, maybe if we spend more money. We'll
Sometimes it
see.
works out. Sometimes it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yep.
Well, my next thing is this Fisker's 30-gallon. Where's that at right here? I got one right. I got it right here. Now it collapses down like this, but as you can see, it's
Yeah.
pretty big and it gets pretty tall. Like I would pop it open, but it wouldn't be in the camera anyway. And I love this thing because it's just a collapsible garden bag. And I love it when I'm doing my weeding. I just grab that bag and it's so light because it's just quicker and easier and lighter than running my wheelbarrow around. And it holds more than my wheelbarrow. I mean, it
I
says
think I need
40
that.
gallons. It's
I think
huge.
I need that.
Got handles on it. I fill that thing up with weeds when I'm weeding. I really loved it this year when I did the garden cleanup at the fall and I was out there just cleaning out the beds and I just carried it over to compost bin, dump it out. It's just so much easier and quicker than using the wheelbarrow to get around.
Right,
And
and the wheelbarrow has to have space. That's
exactly. I
like,
can just
yeah.
grab that thing and it's just walking around with me.
Hmm.
You can use this thing for all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's people that use these for like a laundry basket and they just go out to the clothesline and put
True.
clothes in. I
Well,
mean, there's like 100 things you can use for it, and it's really big, so it can hold a lot of stuff.
well, you could even use it if you're picking plants for your animals. Like you're
Yeah,
gonna go pick a
exactly.
bunch
Doing
of
your
kale and
foraging.
toss it to your chickens.
Originally, that's why I got it. I was well, actually, my daughter got it for me. But when I put it in my Christmas list one year, like 3 years ago, my daughter picked that up for me, and my thought was foraging for the rabbits. I was going around
Right.
grabbing like tree limbs and just all kinds of stuff for the rabbits, and I'd take it in there and I'd feed the rabbits with it. So it was great for that. But I've found so many uses for it. I mean, it's just a great bag to have, and it's so heavy. It's real thick. I don't know if you can't really tell on the camera, but this material is like it's
It
kind of
looks
shiny.
pretty thick,
It's
yeah.
really super thick, but yet it's pretty
You haven't
lightweight
had
too.
any problems with the bottom of it getting holes in it if you, like,
Nope,
drug
it
it
is
all?
really super heavy duty. I mean, it
Nice.
surprised you. It's really thick material. I don't know what it is exactly. It's got like a coating on it, and it's just super thick, and nothing's poked through it. I mean, I pick up tree limbs with it and all kinds of stuff, and nothing's ever poked through it or nothing. And so I really like it. It's been a really, really handy bag to have.
All of us gardeners, we like those weird things.
So what's your next thing there?
My next thing is an immersion blender. So
We're
if
almost
you're
done,
in the
folks, if you're thinking we're getting too long.
what?
I said we're almost done, folks, if people are thinking we're getting too
Yeah,
long.
yeah. We are almost done. So my immersion blender, the sad part is I actually have this one. This is the next model because they don't have my model anymore. And it has gotten it has doubled in price, unfortunately. But I love mine. You can make mayonnaise with this. You can whip tallow butters up with it. I mix soups with it to thicken soups. I absolutely love, love, love. I said it's KitchenAid. It's actually Cuisinart.
Cuisinart, yeah.
Yeah.
Cuisinart. Is that how it's pronounced?
Cuisinart.
I think.
I don't know how you say it, but I love it. I don't think I could live without it.
Yeah, they're handy for sure.
Yeah, I use it a ton in the kitchen. So, and even if I mean, yeah, you can use it for lots and lots of stuff. So, yep.
I like them. Yeah, for sure. I find that it was just quicker too. I mean, if you got a blender, you can do all those things, but then you got to use the blender. You got to break out the big giant blender and you got to put all that stuff in there. It's so much easier with an
Well,
immersion
what
blender.
I like about it is your soup can be boiling and you don't have to dump the soup into the blender. You can literally
Yep.
just stick the stick in there, blend it to thicken it.
Yep.
Boom, you're done.
I do, and I use the blender usually, and I like when I'm making, say, butternut squash soup.
Yeah,
And you
your
have to
favorite.
cook it, then you have to throw it in the blender, then you have to blend, then you have to
Mhm.
put it back on the stove. It's back and forth, back and forth. You're right, and that's kind of
Yeah,
a
this
pain.
just
So
stop. You can literally just stick it in there. Yep.
my next thing is I have this thing called an Inkbird heating and cooling temperature controller. Now, what I have is the Inkbird heating temperature controller. This is an upgraded model. I'm going to kick it up here on the screen because I
Is
don't
this
actually
for your
have this.
greenhouse?
Well, I'm going to tell you that there is a lot of uses for this thing. You could use it in a greenhouse.
Okay.
I tend to use it a bunch of different ways. Right now, I've got it on a heater. It's a thermostat. Basically, it's a thermostat for anything, right? You have a little
Nice.
controller. I mean,
Okay.
you see it has like a temperature probe. Now, this one, like I said, it does heating and cooling. Mine only does heating, or it's just a kick off and on switch, basically, for anything. This one actually temperature controls down, like for cooling as well, and it's only just a couple dollars more. So this
Very
is the
cool.
upgraded model. I'm actually using it on a heater right now, but I use it in my brooder. Like when I'm breeding
Okay.
for like breeding quail, you could literally make an incubator with this thing, like a larger incubator, and use it, and
Oh, that's really
it will
cool.
keep the temperatures just as precise as you can imagine keeping them. Um, and like I said, it works great in the brooder. It works great on little like electric heaters and things like that. It works great. Um, it's just a great little tool, and
That would be really handy.
not expensive, but I have done a lot of stuff with it. I've used it in the greenhouse to run like heat mats and stuff, and you can stick the probe down in the soil and run a heat, run your heat mats so it kick off and
Oh,
on. You can do all kinds of things like that. You can make things with it. I mean, and use it.
that's
Um,
perfect for the DIY homesteader. I
yeah,
like that.
you could air condition a room to a certain temperature. Say you had a pantry or or something you want to keep at a certain temperature. You could run an air conditioner and have it kick, and set it real precise to kick off and on or something. I mean, I
That's
don't
pretty
know.
cool.
There's a lot of uses. It's really kind of whatever you can imagine needing a thermostat for, and it works really, really well. And
That's really
they even have an upgraded model that's like a Bluetooth model. So you can use your phone and do all the stuff with your phone and monitor and everything with your phone. That one doesn't. Mine doesn't. Like I said, mine's
okay.
just an older model, but I love it. It's just a tool I use constantly around here for all kinds of
That's
stuff.
pretty cool.
And I'll give you the last one. What you got?
An Instant Pot. I have 2. I love them. In fact, we made mashed potatoes in them the other day.
I don't have
I
one.
just love them. They're super easy. So you can, it's like a crock pot, but it's like a pressure cooker, but it's
Mhm,
all digitized. So, you know, your mom and dad probably had one of those stovetop pressure cookers where you could cook potatoes or whatever. And
mhm,
this is basically the same thing, but it's all digitized. So you can set a timer on it, and then it can even keep it warm for up to 12 hours. So I use mine as a crock pot during the day. So I'll put something in it in the morning and it'll be warm when I get home from work. Or you can literally put frozen burger in it and
mm,
turn it into hamburger super fast. So you
yeah.
forgot to put dinner in. I love the speed of it. And and then on top of it, I love it that it can keep things warm for up to 24 hours. So, yep,
My
I love it.
pressure canner, electric pressure canner, well, actually, you can use it in cooking it too. It's a pressure
Yeah,
cooker as well. I
you have the carry one, right?
maybe I should have put that in this list. I think it's
You
over
should have, but I
$100.
think they're more than
Yeah, it's a little more
$100.
than $100. I think they're like 100 or closer to 200, but it does everything. Like I said, it does all the canning, steam canning, water bath canning, pressure
Yeah,
canning. You can use it to
yeah.
cook in, pressure canner, does all that kind of stuff. So maybe that's
Yeah, that
pretty
would
handy
probably be
item.
the ideal thing if you wanted to
Yeah.
invest a little bit more because it does so many things. But
Well,
I just love it. It's
th
so easy. You can
and there
do
is what I
eggs
love,
in it.
yeah, Instapots, what I think there's hundreds of websites out there that have
Yep.
recipes just for those Instant Pots. I mean, it's just amazing. There's so much information out there on different meals you can cook, and it's a whole
Mhm.
movement really, isn't it?
It is. I have, like, tonight before I go to bed, I will put steel cut oats in the Instant Pot for my husband's breakfast in the morning.
Mm, yeah,
Just
great. A great idea.
yeah.
Well, that wraps up our list. I mean, we could have probably
That's it.
listed 100 things. I think that
That
was
was hard to
20 something
decide,
things.
There's so many
Yeah,
things.
I just threw things. I was thinking, okay, what do I use all the time that, are not
Yep.
things that maybe some people don't have? And I just do a list of a few things together because, like I said, the list could be really long, but I know how it is. You get down to those last few weeks before Christmas, and there's
Mhm.
some people, you're like, why do I get them? And it's like, if they're a homesteader and they don't have some of these things, I know I
Mhm.
would appreciate any one of these things if I didn't have them.
There's a
So,
few things that you listed that I'm like, "Ooh, I might
oh,
need to get
I'm gonna tell you right
those."
now that stainless steel,
I know.
yeah, that stainless steel, microgreen set, I think I'm gonna have to
Those are pretty cool. I've
yeah,
been waiting for them to come out with something like that. I looked last year and they didn't have anything yet.
that's
So,
on my list. So if
yeah.
any, I mean, honestly, if a listener wanted to, like, send us a gift, I wouldn't oppose it or anything. I'm just kidding. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be a fantastic, gift
Well,
for
and
a
it's the time of
homesteader.
year, at least where we're at, where that I start thinking about making sprouts and microgreens because I got snow now.
I've already
So,
started.
yep.
I'm on it. Well, there you have it, folks. I mean, a few things you can maybe pick up last minute. I know this wasn't a super homesteady episode, but hey, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this information this time of the year because I got some folks I'm still buying for. I ain't
Yeah,
quite done. I ain't quite done yet. Last year we did an episode on DIY stuff, that you could make
we
for
did.
homesteaders. So we
We
covered that, and
did.
we thought
So you
this
can
year,
go look at that.
Yeah, so people can go back and listen to that episode, maybe come up with some ideas for doing some gifts, making some gifts for folks. But if you just want to, you got kind of not very much time left and you want to pick up something, most of this stuff, a lot of this stuff was, under $30, so we put 100
Mhm.
because there's a couple things that are up there, but most of the stuff is really inexpensive. So yeah, pick it up and show that homesteader you care. uh,
Yeah.
well, I think you have anything else you want to add in there before we let people go?
No, I think that's it. I think
Well,
next
we
week, we're gonna be scheduled, but I'm gonna be gone, so you're gonna be by yourself next
We'll
week.
figure something out. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know exactly what I got on the docket yet there, but we'll figure something out. And yeah, I appreciate you doing that one last week, that Thanksgiving episode when I couldn't
oh, it
do
was
it. I
fun.
really appreciate that.
It
And
was fun.
well, folks, I appreciate those of you who contribute a little bit with some comments there, and we love it when you join in and are part of this. I
Invite
mean,
your
this is
friends.
the whole YouTube thing's still a little bit, as far as doing it live is definitely different, and we're not editing, and that's hard for me, really hard for me not to edit, but I don't have
Yeah,
time, so I'm doing it. And but we appreciate y'all, and we thank you for
we
joining us.
do.
And until next time, happy homesteading. God bless.
And grow where you're planted.